you're not something to fix.
You're someone to honor. Do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, which you have within you? And then the second part of it, and that's what we'll get to, is therefore glorify the Lord with your body.
Actually taking a rest day. As athletes and as high level athletes, we don't want to rest. We just want to keep going.
Keep grinding.
And it's like rest is the most important part of your training block, really.
Yeah.
The Fierce Athlete Podcast is here to empower female athletes to thrive in their God-given identity and femininity. You are a daughter of God, fully feminine, fully strong.
Hello, friends, and welcome to the Fierce Athlete Podcast. This is Sam Kelly.
I'm Julianna Dalton.
And we are in part 2 of our discussion in regards to our physical nature. And how it relates to how we see ourselves, how we play our sport, how we react to our injuries. And I think ultimately what we want to kind of get into today is how we care for ourselves.
Yeah. How we honor our bodies instead of control them.
Yeah. And, in part 1 of this series, I think we hoped that you would be able to just shift your perception of your body and of the amazingness of your body. All the things that you get to do, little and small and also big and magnanimous little things like being able to smile to big things like being able to dunk or spike a ball or whatever. And we ended last time with some powerful takeaways on being grateful for what we can do. But then also going before God and saying, okay, Lord, like you made me like this, how do you see that?
Yeah. And where it might be a crazy question, but one that we should all answer to is we answered, hey God, how do you see me? But how do we see God within our physical bodies? How do we feel him within our physical bodies? I feel like is our next.
Yeah. It's like the next, I don't know. Step.
Yeah.
Whether higher towards heaven or just like deeper within the soul. We always there's always more, and you'll find that we're always going to bring you a little bit deeper because life with the Lord is eternal and deep, but we're also athletes and we like to kind of challenge ourselves into a deeper understanding of who we are and a deeper understanding of God. I think it's one thing to look at ourselves and say, okay, I see how you created me, God. And so I can perceive that I'm unique and therefore I'm beautiful and good. But God doesn't just stop there. He doesn't just look at us and he's not just in awe of us. That's what we kind of focused on last time. But God's actually so in awe of us that when we're baptized, he actually comes and make his home in us. And we see this in Corinthians, I think it's 1 Corinthians 6:19-20. And basically, this is slightly paraphrasing, but it says, do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, which you have within you? And then the second part of it, and that's what we'll get to, is therefore glorify the Lord with your body.
Yeah.
So when we say like temple of the Holy Spirit, what that means is when we're baptized, God actually comes to dwell inside of us.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Right. It's a crazy concept to wrap our heads around. And it goes back to, I shared a little bit about that disordered eating that I went through in college. And it's like, I was not honoring the fact that he was within me and dwelling inside of me. And that's the temple. Or people always say like, don't put a bumper sticker on a Bentley or these like getting all these,
Yeah.
And it's like, if I'm not honoring God in everything that I do, eat, sleep, recover as an athlete, it's like, then we're not honoring his temple in which our bodies are.
Yeah. Yeah. And what do you think of when you think of a temple?
Beautiful,
holy, sacred, gold, pure, clean.
Yeah.
If those are all words we use to describe a temple or a church, those are then words, right? Your body's a temple of the Holy Spirit. those are then words that we should strive to, God would use to describe us, but by our behavior and what we do, we should strive to be able to describe ourselves in that way.
Yeah.
How
do we do that? How do we honor and describe ourselves? And how do we honor our bodies in that way?
Yeah, I think there's a physical level first, and there's a deeper spiritual level. So let's start with the physical. It's interesting. I a couple of years ago, I started working. It's interesting, like, because I was an athlete, I do way better when I'm participating in a sport still, or I have a coach. Mm. And so a couple of years ago, I just took up pretty intense lifting, strength and conditioning. It was when I was rowing. And I had this coach, and I remember our intake, and I ended up going on to get my certification in strength and conditioning because I loved it so much. But even still, I need a coach now, even though I can train myself. But part of the intake, and then part of what I learned when I trained for this license, was stress management. Now, I think stress, and it's like, okay, maybe, not living too busy of a life or whatever. But when they talked about stress management, it was like every factor. It was like how much I slept and what was the quality of my sleep, what I ate, what was the quality of what I was eating, how often, breakdown of macros, what was my physical activity? Mm-hmm. Was it too low, too high? Like how much was I traveling? How much was I drinking? Hydrating. So there's like so many factors, so many ways. How much was I stretching? Like there's so many factors to honoring our physical being, and it's really worth looking at. Do you know what the number one way to reduce cortisol, which is a stress hormone, is? Everybody wants to be less stressed, but everybody's so stressed these days. What's the number one way to do that?
I want to say it's sleep.
It is sleep.
Yeah.
It is sleep. At our age, or anybody's age, it's like, especially if you're competing, it's 8 to 10 hours a night. Mm-hmm. I'm not getting that much sleep. No. Often enough.
Right.
And I'm a bad sleeper, so that means I need to like be in bed for at least 9 hours if I want to get 8 hours sleep. Mm-hmm. I think people that can just sleep anywhere and really well, it's a spiritual gift, because it's a gift from God, because I do not have that gift.
Yeah.
But yeah, sleep. I talk to so many college athletes, and I've always been kind of covetous of my sleep, so I've had to like scale it back a little bit. Like prayer actually does need to come before that extra hour of sleep. But I say that in front of college athlete audiences or high school athlete audiences all the time, and they're like, I'm not getting that.
Yeah.
Like 6, 4. I'm like, how are you functioning?
Right. Yeah. And it's crazy that it's the number one reducer of cortisol. And yet it's probably the one that we all neglect the most.
Yep.
And it's almost so simple that it's so hard to do, especially as athletes, because we are just go, train, all the things. So, yeah.
Well, and it's also, and I can be guilty of this too. It's, it's funny. It called me out seeing this video, but I follow this women's hockey team on social media, and I'm like getting ready for bed, or I'm like in bed, and I have my phone up and I'm just like scrolling. And the question they were asking everybody was like, what time do you go to bed? And, most of the athletes were like 10, but they're like, well, I get in bed at 9 and then I scroll for 30 minutes. And over half of them are like, oh, I go on TikTok or I scroll. And here I was doing that very thing before bed. And I'm like, put your phone away. Like, just go to bed. Because that screen, right, it's stimulating my eye. It's waking me up, I can get lost in that. And some people are like, oh, well, that's my time where I can just, but how often do you tend to be on for 5 minutes and you're on for half an hour? And that's 25 minutes that you could have been sleeping.
Right.
And so, people often make the excuse like, well, I don't have enough time to sleep. And it's like,
but you had enough time to be on TikTok for 8 hours that day. Yeah.
Yeah. The average time young people are on social media is like 6 hours a day. So it's insane. I don't think athletes have that much time to be, but whatever it is, whether it's you stay up late watching TV, you are over socializing, you whatever, I think it's really important to do kind of a self-analysis of, well, why am I not getting sleep? Mm-hmm. Or if it's not that, if it's, eating enough, or I'm not eating healthily, or I'm not getting enough protein in my diet, or I'm not hydrating enough, like whatever it is, right? We have to set that goal and we have to commit to it. And I usually find like in my own life, it's like, okay, I'm going to focus this week on hydration, and really getting that back up to par. And then I'm going to focus this week on getting to bed at a consistent time,
Yeah.
But grace builds on nature. And the blessing, the reducing of stress, like that comes from actually committing to taking care of ourselves.
Yeah. I want to give a piece of advice to all of our listeners too, because as someone who is chronically online, I mean, half of my job is social media and marketing. So I'm always on a screen, is to get a sunrise clock. Just do it. It is the best purchase I've ever made. And there's like some really nice expensive ones like the Hatch or whatever.
Yeah.
But I got a dupe, if you will. And it has changed the way I fall asleep, wake up, all the things. So yeah, that's my recommendation for better sleep. If you're a scroller before bed like myself, yeah, get a sunrise clock and it wakes you up. It's a sound machine. It's cool. So that's just one way. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. To aid, right?
Yes. Yeah. But I see it too as someone who was always in the training room as an athlete.
Oh, same.
I always thought like, oh, if I just go check this box of I'm in the training room and I'm getting recovery, then okay, cool. Like, yeah, I'm recovered. But I didn't take that seriously until I started stretching on my own or actually taking a rest day. As athletes and as high level athletes, we don't want to rest. We just want to keep going.
Keep grinding.
And it's like rest is the most important part of your training block, really.
Yeah.
So, yeah, taking those rest days serious as well.
Well, and yeah, the body is not meant. There's a reason that athletes have to retire at some point.
Yeah.
Right. Being an elite athlete isn't sustainable for forever. Because it begins to have negative consequences on the body, right? Injuries, whatever. It can be sustainable for a long time, and you can compete for a long time in various things in sports, but it also does take a toll, right? And it's like when it comes to physical activity, and you'll hear me say this over and over and over, like the virtue's always in the middle. And so if it's like we're not working out at all or enough, I'm sure some athletes that have retired who are listening, and it's like, I'm done working out. And I get it, like you need to heal, but that's a disordered reaction. It has to scale back because most likely just because of work or life or your body's sustainability, you can't continue to work out 4 or 5 hours a day.
Yeah.
Or at least for forever. I mean, maybe if you're in another sport or doing something else. But on the other side, we do see people, and I even had some teammates who did this overcompensate. Right. I remember I had a teammate who, and I won't say in what era of my life this was, for their anonymity, but they were so keen on being thin and on having a 6-pack that it was like obsessive working out. So not only did we have practice for a couple hours, but then this individual would do extra workouts, extra abs, like they were constantly working out to the point where it's like, this is actually disordered, obsessive, a control thing, and not healthy because they weren't fueling enough. And in the long run, right, that's going to break down the body. You're not going to be able to sustain that. And I think in many regards, it was not judging, but I knew this individual and it was a control thing. It was a manipulation thing. It was the result of a lie. And I think we have to be careful because of that too. Yeah.
And that all those things you just listed are the opposite of honoring our temple. So it's hard too when we go back to that physical appearance and what we want to look like, and we're listening to ourselves rather than, hey, God, how do you see me? That's when it becomes control and disordered.
Yeah. And I think there's an element of, I think control can come, and bear with me on this thought. I think oftentimes control, manipulation, these things can actually come from a deep place of loneliness. We feel lonely, we feel unseen, we feel like we can't control our playing time, so we try to manipulate and control. And the reason I bring that up is like one of my this woman, when I started reading her writings, she completely annihilated and destroyed and shredded my prayer life. Like I was like, I know nothing when I started reading her. And then by reading her, she like built a whole new prayer life, a whole new interior life. Her name is Elizabeth of the Trinity, now Saint Elizabeth of the Trinity. She's a Carmelite sister. I got to go to her canonization in Rome a number of years ago. It was amazing. And I would suggest starting just with either her biography. There's a book, He Is My Heaven. We'll put it in the show notes. You recommend a sleep machine. I recommend a book. It's a great combo. You can read the book as you're going to sleep.
Right.
He Is My Heaven is a biography on her, or her writings. If you look up her retreats that she wrote, her whole spirituality comes down to the indwelling. Okay. So this isn't just some like fluffy, nice idea. Like this is more real than like this chair, which is real. But the reality is that God dwells in the depths of our hearts and depths of our souls. So if he's dwelling there, when I was baptized, he chose to enter my heart, my soul, the depths of me, then I'm actually never alone, ever. Like God is within me. And therefore, if God is heaven, like every moment I can go within the depths of my heart and like encounter heaven, encounter the Lord. And that, I mean, changes this concept of like, there are certain moments when I'm traveling or I'm speaking or, you just feel this sense of loneliness. And it's like, no, Lord, you're always here. You're always in me. But I think secondarily, it's like, oh my goodness, like I need to reverence myself because you're here.
Yeah.
But then I think even a step further is that he's in you. So the person that cuts me off in traffic or whatever, like the opposing teammate who I find annoying or aggressive or whatever, like God's in them too.
Yeah.
And that shifts everything.
Yeah. I had a moment of that realization, that come to Jesus moment, if you will, when I transferred for my 5th year. A brand new city, brand new team. And it wasn't until I was lonely that I was lonely, I wasn't alone. And when I had made that switch of like, okay, yeah, I'm sure I'm lonely. I'm not hanging out with people all the time or doing all this stuff. I'm actually alone.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm never alone when God is within me. It's such a amazing feeling too, to just know that like, yep, I got him in me,
Shoulder shrug.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. And I think when we realize that, it changes a lot of things for us.
Mm-hmm.
It changes, again, our perception of self, how we should care for ourselves. But I think it gives us this new confidence to make decisions, I think, for the right reasons, right? I'm not just manipulating something or doing something because I have this desire for control or because I am trying to make up for this deep sense of loneliness, or manipulate because I'm insecure and so I feel like I need to be leaner or whatever. There is this deep desire to honor. And I think that's the key. So I'll use this example, right? It's like we want to honor ourselves. But say we perceive, right? Like I need to lose 10 pounds. You hear that a lot with women. It's always, I want to lose 10 pounds. Okay. Well, I kind of follow that up with, a lot of people say, no, you don't. It's like, okay, well, why? Okay. Let's just parse out. Why do you want to lose 10 pounds?
To look better.
Yeah. If it's to look better, okay. Probably not the right motivation.
Right.
If it's, hey, like, I'm turning into an endurance athlete right now, training for triathlons. I'm more of a power athlete right now. So I do want to like lean a little bit so that I can perform. Okay. That's nothing to do with how I look. I think I'm great. I think I'm beautiful. But if I want to shift so I can perform in a different way, okay, that's maybe a little bit motivated by performance. Like that's not necessarily bad, but I think the perception behind it's important, right? If we view ourselves as, because again, right now you could kind of see this contrast where we said this in the last episode, like we're good. Like God created us beautiful, holy, sacred. Nothing about us needs to change. Like that's how we are, how God created us. However, now we're saying, okay, God dwells in us. And so we actually do need to take an action to take care of ourselves.
Mm.
But it needs to be out of the motivation of, well, God's in me and I'm so good and I'm so holy that I need to honor that. Rather than there's something wrong with me, I need to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that do you see that shift? So I say this often, it's this kind of one-liner, but we're not something to fix. Or I would add as of late, like we're not something to be used or to use or to manipulate, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing about us that needs to be fixed, used, or manipulated. And you see how it's something, like there's not a like a dignity to it.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
we just can view that's when we view our body as a tool or whatever. But we're someone to honor. We're someone, right? Because God created us. We have inherent dignity. But because he's in us, like we need to honor who we are. And so if I perceive that, yeah, I want to lose 10 pounds to be faster for my sport or even just to like be healthier, the result of that is going to be peace. If there's peace there, if there's a detachment, if there's a healthy way that I do it, if there's a way I honor my body as I do it, okay. But how many fad diets have we tried and given up on?
Right.
And they're anxiety producing and stress producing and, you know, and stress producing, some produces more cortisol, so we don't lose the weight. Like that's not of God. Like that's all we're just trying to fix and manipulate something.
Yeah.
That's not the right motivation.
Yeah. What was it? You're not something to fix.
You're someone to honor.
That's amazing. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's a good rule of thumb. It's a good shift.
Yeah.
Which I think is what we can kind of parse out from this whole discussion is, no, I am someone and I have the someone within me. And together, right? I want to honor this temple. I heard somebody say once, you know, you got to treat your body like it's the house you're going to live in for the next 80 years. It's like, yeah, God willing.
Right.
You know? And so that does come with a need to be grateful, but a need to honor as well.
Yeah. So I guess for all of our listeners, it's we covered a lot of things in this last physical kind of topic, but I think as an athlete, it's how we sleep, what we eat, and how we recover. So what would you tell our listeners that their takeaway should be for this week?
Yeah, I'm going to give 2 again.
Love it.
I think physical, like let's do physical, spiritual, kind of like we did before. I think on a physical level, pick something that you need to improve to help your recovery, to help, you know, even if you're, you know, in off season or you're a former athlete or you're a parent, you know, looking at those kind of big categories, whether it be sleep, quality of what you're eating, quality of working out, recovery, stress management, things like that, phone use, make a goal this week. I'm going to drink more water. And this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to sleep 8 hours a night. And then you got to work backwards, right? Because if you want to sleep 8 hours, that means you have to start getting ready for bed 30 minutes before that, which means maybe my biggest tempter in that time is my phone. So I need to put my phone on the opposite side of the room so I can get the 8 hours of sleep. So not only make the goal, but I'd say put the steps in place to help you achieve that goal.
Yeah. An action plan. All of us love our action plans.
Love a good action plan.
Yeah.
Love a good action plan. Yeah, I'm currently doing this prayer reflection. And every day it kind of has you rate yourself physically, mentally, and spiritually. And it's like I can see as I'm progressing through this book, like how things shift and where I need to improve, which is kind of fun. So, and then I think spiritual, go read Elizabeth the Trinity. You can link some of her stuff. But I think spending time in prayer, like last week we spent time before God saying, how do you see me? And now I think let's spend time with God. No agenda. Just be and realize that he's in you. Especially in those moments where we feel lonely or tempted. Take those 15 minutes of silence, close your eyes, just be within your heart, within the depths of your soul. It's a very Carmelite spirituality. Like go within. What does your heart look like inside? Are there rooms? Are there places? Where does Jesus take you? Let him lead that. And it's a pretty rich way to pray.
I love that. Well, We're really excited that you're here, that you're listening with us. Join our Patreon community if you have not thus far. Leave your comments and thoughts down below, and we will see you very soon.
And continue to honor the Lord with your bodies.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us. And remember, be fierce.